Hi, and welcome to the Comics Cafe. This is a watercolor painting of my Patreon supporter, Elle, and her partner, Alli. One of my Patreon rewards is an anniversary portrait, a small original watercolor I do for supporters who've been with me for a full year, and I took the chance to try filming one. I started with a pencil sketch. On this one, I'll be going right from pencils to paint, so I needed the sketch to be pretty close to the finished drawing. If you've seen other artists that use ink and watercolor, painting color before inking the line art might seem like an unintuitive choice. The reason I'm doing it this time is because the ink I'm using for lines is a deep red fountain pen ink that isn't waterproof. If I did the lines first, then any watercolor that touched the lines would cause it to bleed and smudge. I'd like to say that this was for a bold creative choice, but part of the reason I used this ink was because I had already filled my pen with it. Still, once I decided on red lines, I tried to cater the color scheme towards that choice, and I liked the way it looked in the end. The coloring process was a pretty standard light to dark plan, which is common with watercolors. For areas that shift in color like Alli's hair and space outfit, I tried to mix a bunch of colors in advance and then paint them all in one go, blending on the paper instead of layering. I learned about doing this from one of my favorite watercolor YouTube creators, Mateusz Urbanowicz. I can't recommend his work enough, particularly his heart-achingly stunning background paintings and original art books. My own watercolor palette is fairly limited and has been dwindling since I started doing more watercolors last year. So almost every color in this palette is a mixture of the 11 or so paints I have access to. I even needed to borrow my partner Becky's palette for blues, which I'm totally out of. Fortunately, I just ordered some dot cards online, so I'm going to be updating my watercolor collection soon. Let me know if you want to see a video about that too. I'm trying to practice shading with more saturated colors, but I ended up using mostly browns here. I still really like the blended look that you get when multiple colors show through in the shadow, like under the area where Elle and Alli's faces meet. But I'm making a note to be brave and try purple, blue, and green shadows in a place like this next time. Once the paint was completely dry, I came back with the fountain pen to add outlines and texture. I'm using a Lamy Safari fountain pen with the EF nib, and the ink is Lover's Red ink from Papier Plume out of New Orleans, and was a gift from my pen mentor, Jen. On top of being a nice deep red, the ink has some lovely natural transparency variation to it that makes it great for drawing and writing. When I was about done inking, I realized there were a few details on Elle's face that I didn't want to be as dark as the outlines, so I used some colored pencils for these. After I scan the painting in, I use Clip Studio to mask out the silhouettes so that there's only paper texture on the figures. I liked how this one came out, and it was fun to try filming the entire process. I know Elle and Alli from here in Portland. They are both super sweet, so I was happy to share my appreciation for them in this way. This video was created with support from these fine people who subscribe on Patreon. You can support my work on there, but I'd rather encourage you to donate to Black Lives Matter organizations and local bail funds. If you've only got so much to spare, please do this instead. I'll leave a few links in the video description if you need. Please comment if you have any questions or suggestions for more videos, and subscribe to my new channel if you want to get updates on more videos like this soon. Thanks for watching!